Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and Canon just confirmed more impressive specs, video specs, for the Canon EOS R5. Now, what I want to start with right now is what we already know, and then I'll get into those new specs. So what we know already is that it will do full width 8K up to 30 frames per second. That is the full width of the sensor. It is not cropping it. It will have dual pixel CMOS AF in all 8K modes. You've got 5-axis sensor shift with IBIS, and it ties in with the image stabilization in the lens to give you better image stabilization. Now, that's what we do know. Now, before I get into what Canon did reveal, I do want to remind you that the super huge mega camera giveaway is ending April 30th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you haven't signed up yet to win a camera valued up to $3,499, which could be an EOS R5 if it's priced there, or lenses valued up to the same amount, head on over to bit.ly/megafro2020 to get entered for free. I do want to remind you that if you purchase FroPack 1, 2, or the bundle, or you've already purchased them, you will score extra entries towards winning the grand prize. As a reminder, you do not need to make a purchase of presets in order to win the grand prize over at bit.ly/megafro2020. Now, here are the new details. Internal full width 8K at 422 10-bit with CLOG or HDRPQ in H.265. Now, we will discuss this in more detail on the next Raw Talk episode, which you can check out on YouTube when it becomes available. Also, it will do full width 8K RAW up to 30 frames per second internally. That's right, it will do 8K RAW up to 30 frames per second internally with dual pixel AF, I might add. But the question is, how long will it record? Will it be 10 seconds? Will it be 20 seconds? Will it be a minute? Will it be 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 20 minutes? We don't know because they didn't have an answer just yet for us, but I would suspect that it will be capped out at some amount because it's 8K RAW internal. We also don't know what kind of format it will be using. Will it be using the same thing that we found with the 5.5K RAW that's in the 1DX Mark III? And honestly, when I first started making videos in my dad's backyard with the D3S from Nikon, it gave me 5-minute record limit at 720. 720 gave me 5 minutes record and then it shut off. You know, I'm limited to 5 minutes on this recording at each time, so hopefully I stayed under that. So we'll have to wait and see what this will end up doing. All right, now let's get into the 4K specs. Full width 4K 120 frames per second with dual pixel AF. That's right, 120 frames per second, 4K with dual pixel AF. It has the same 422 10-bit with CLOG or HDRPQ in H.265 in 4K. But one information that is breaking news that they did give us when I did ask, what does it smell like? And I quote, it smells like rainbows and unicorns. That is an official quote from Canon, and I'm sticking to it. Now, we did know that this camera would have 2 card slots. What we didn't know is which card slots would they be, and I did end up guessing right back during the Photo News Fix when I guessed that it would have CF Express and 1 UHS-2 SD card slot. Now, the problem with that, now it's not so much a major problem, is that we will think that 8K and 4K and the big heavy video is going to have to go to CF Express. But we don't know a lot about the still modes just yet. We don't know what the size of the sensor is, and we don't know things like that. We do know that they said it would do 12 frames per second mechanical and 20 frames per second silent, but we don't know how the redundant recording is going to work when it comes to shooting photos, meaning something like the 5D Mark III and the 5D Mark IV would dumb itself down to the slowest card. So if you had a fast card in the one slot and a slower card in the other different version of the slot, it would slow down the write time, meaning it dumbed it down to the slowest card. So I would assume that it's going to do something similar to that when you're shooting stills and you're doing it redundant, and I don't expect it to do redundant video, especially if you're shooting 8K. Now, we don't have a release date just yet, and we have no idea, again, on the limit of video record time. Now, release date, I would have assumed it would have been pretty soon, but right now we know a lot of things are delayed, and we also don't have the price. But I'm gonna go out there and guess that it's going to be $3,500, give or take $100 here or there. I think $3,500 is right where the 5D Mark IV came out, and I think it's going to be where they squeeze the price into this camera. I do have to say that we are pretty surprised as a team at FroKnowsPhoto that they threw the kitchen sink at this camera so far as it pertains to video features. Will there be something that they hold back in photo features? I mean, it doesn't sound like it right now. This might be the camera that we replace our Z6s with for doing this type of filming, because maybe 8K will come in handy at some point for us for having multiple angles, because that's what it's really for, is to have multiple angles to cut, to zoom, to do what you need to do. You could go ahead and use the crop feature with 8K and get a lot out of that data. So far, this sounds like it's going to be an incredible body. We will just have to wait and see for the final specs and to see what it's priced at and when it comes out. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. Again, this is just a preview of the specs that they've given us. They haven't given us a ton of information. No matter what we ask, they usually don't have answers that they can give us right now, but hopefully we will know more soon enough. Thank you very much for watching. Jared, Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.